Once upon a time, a very long time ago, there lived a spider named Anansi. Anansi's wife was a brilliant cook, but he still loved to go around the village tasting the food that his friends made for themselves and their families. One day, he stopped by Rabbit's house. Rabbit was a good friend of his. "There are greens in your pot," said Anansi excitedly. "There are, though they're not quite ready yet," said Rabbit. "But why don't you stay and share with me?" "I'd love to, but I've got things to do," said Anansi hurriedly. "I know," said Anansi. "I'll spin a web and I'll tie one end to my leg and one end to your pot. Then, when the greens are done, you can tug on the web and I'll come running." Rabbit thought this was a brilliant idea, and so it was done. "I smell beans," said Anansi excitedly as he ambled along. "Delicious beans in a pot." "Come and share our beans with us!" "Oh, ah!" cried the monkeys. "They're almost done." "I'd love to," said Anansi. And again, he suggested that he spin a web, tying one end to his leg and one end to the bean pot. Father Monkey thought this was a brilliant idea, and so it was done. "I smell sweet potato," said Anansi happily as he ambled along. "Sweet potato and honey, I do believe." "Anansi!" cried the hog, a friend of Anansi. "I have sweet potato and honey in my pot. Come and share my food with me." "I'd love to," said Anansi. And again, he suggested that he spin a web, tying one end to his leg and one end to the sweet potato pot. Hog thought this was a brilliant idea, and so it was done. By the time Anansi arrived at the river, he had one web string tied to each of his 8 legs. "Ah," said Anansi, "this was a brilliant idea. I wonder whose pot will be ready first." Just then, he felt a tug at his leg. "Oh, that's the web attached to Rabbit's greens." And then he felt a second and a third. "Oh dear," said Anansi, as he felt the 4th one pull, and then a 5th, and a 6th, and a 7th, and the 8th. Anansi was being pulled this way and that way, and his legs were being pulled thinner and thinner and thinner. Anansi rolled quickly into the river, and the webs washed away. Anansi pulled himself up painfully onto the shore. "Oh no," said Anansi. "Maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all." And to this day, Anansi still has 8 very, very, very thin legs, and he didn't get any food that day at all.